one as well, heart rate variability on energy patches, showing that it improves HRV and also reduces stress. Thought it showed this one, which would be interesting because this was done with ice wave, which also improves heart rate variability, but you can see helps to manage the inflammatory response. What's the benefit of HRV? Relaxes the heart, relaxes the nervous system, gets the inflammatory response under control. And then here's one on EON. Again, where we're using EON to measure stress reduction and its beneficial effects on the heart. So I know I went through that really quick, and this really would have required a few hours to go through everything and give it its proper due. But really, the point of this was to give our community a whole list of different tools to understand what's the problem, what's the underlying cause, and what are some natural tools that we can use to maintain the health of the heart, prevent heart disease, and if people already have high blood pressure, how can we reverse that and prevent it from coming back?
I think it was absolutely incredible information. That phrase "drinking from a fire hose" comes to mind because there was just much good. So no, it's amazing, and the questions are flying in. And I know we're down to just about 10 to 15 minutes here left of time. Um, so we talked about alpha lipoic acid, carnosine, glutathione, garlic, vitamins. I mean, just a tremendous number of things that can help with all this. Um, the first question out of the gate would be, David, in terms of just everyday food and diet, are there any recommendations for more of a heart health focused type of diet that you'd recommend?
Yeah, of course. So, first thing that I would say is if someone has, let's say, type 2 diabetes or type 1 diabetes, I would be focusing on a diet that would be low in carbohydrates and something that would be more rich in protein and healthy fats. I would be including foods, and this is all to say that if someone is not allergic to a specific food, like let's say avocados, right, or olives, you want to have foods that are rich in monounsaturated fats, such as avocados and olives or olive oil, because they're going to help to manage the inflammatory response. Ketogenic diets, of course, are going to be fantastic in this because they're going to help to balance out, improve insulin sensitivity, and balance blood sugar. Fasting, as I've already indicated, is critically important. But in terms of diet, I would say definitely reduction in carbohydrates, reduction in sugar.
Okay, wonderful. There are a lot of questions coming in. You talked a lot about carnosine, and of course we have a patch, carnosine. And so there's a lot of questions coming in around the usage of the patch versus a supplement versus the two of them together. How do you see those working together, and what would your recommendations there be?
So let's say we took glutathione as an example. So when we're talking about the use of glutathione in treating a health condition, we're referring to the information that's out there on injecting glutathione into the body and oral supplementation because we only make wellness claims about the patch. So if someone were interested in elevating glutathione, they can use our patch, but they have to look at their diet. Do they have a source of cysteine? And are they using this therapeutically or just as a detox? So what I would say is on things like glutathione and carnosine, if they're concerned about heart disease, I would be taking a beta alanine supplement and an NAC supplement to make sure they're getting those amino acids in their diet, and then they can use the patch to help maintain the levels of carnosine and glutathione. Another way to look at it is that if you take an NAC supplement, the levels of glutathione go up and down. If you use the glutathione patch, the glutathione levels stay elevated. So that's the biggest difference between the supplement and the patch. The patch helps to keep the glutathione levels elevated.
Oh, that's fantastic. There's another one, and again, I know we've talked about medical disclaimers and things, so I want to be cautious about that. But um, several questions around, a pacemaker and the use of patches. Is there any issues there that you foresee, or any comments on that?
So we had this question come back up in 2004 when we were first launching, and we have many people with pacemakers that use the patches. We've never seen any issues with that. But because it is a serious health condition, we have to recommend that a person see their doctor and ask their doctor if it's okay. But all we're doing with the patches is stimulating the body with light. So there's should not be any interaction with a pacemaker.
Okay, perfect. This next question comes around X39, and so this individual is asking, what happens when you discontinue taking X39? Do the anti-aging gains revert to the way they were, or do you just start kind of from that point? Just maybe a little bit more commentary on that piece.
Yeah, the way I would look at this, that's a complicated questions, and the answer is lengthy. There's a lot of details there, but the simple thing is when you stop using the patches, you stop getting the benefits, just like vitamins. So let's say that you got 10 years of age reversal and you said, well, I'm happy, I'm going to stop using it. You wouldn't all of a sudden, age very rapidly. You would start aging normally again. But the easiest way to think about it is that it's really no different than vitamin supplements. If you stop taking them, you lose the benefits.
Yeah. Okay, there's a few comments too around garlic and the DNA telomeres. So there's a question around, does it actually reduce the length of those, and does the recommendation for garlic conflict with the anti-aging message there?
That's an interesting question. I used to worry about that, but I don't worry about it anymore. But I have some privileged data, so I would say it that way, because we are in fact doing research on telomere lengthening. But yes, there is. If you keep in mind, the purpose of this and recommending garlic is for people that have high blood pressure and potentially are at risk of a heart attack or stroke. So I wouldn't be worried about living another 20 years. I'd be worried about, are they going to live another 6 months or a year, and what damage are they doing to their health. So the whole purpose of this was to say, use garlic as a tool to get your blood pressure under control, use it to help support the removal of arterial plaque, and then once everything is stable, then you can go off the garlic. You don't have to use it. There are many other benefits to garlic. It's a very, very powerful antibacterial, antifungal. But there is potentially a concern that it could inhibit lengthening the telomeres. But we have data to suggest that you could still use garlic. It's still going to lengthen the telomeres when you do certain things. So, but again, the whole purpose of this is to help people at risk for heart attack. So I would use garlic as a tool.
Perfect. You talked a little bit about fasting and intermediate fasting, and I know that there's always some questions around, intermediate fast or intermittent fasting, and talking about, what counts and what doesn't count in that. For example, if you were to use tea or coffee or drink, those types of things. Any thoughts on that, or any suggestions based on the data you've seen?
Oh, lots of thoughts on that. So the first thing is, there are any number of different studies on intermittent fasting, and that's a whole other webinar in and of itself. But and there's different ways of fasting. The way a man and a woman fast are different. But let's just say, for the sake of example, that one method that I use that's very popular is to eat within an 8-hour window. So let's say 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then fast for 16 hours. That seems to work very well. So it's a long enough fasting period that you can get your hormone levels up, like growth hormone levels. You kick your body into autophagy, and you help to manage out your blood sugar, right? So um, some people, though, they might want to go without food 1 day a week. That's another method of practicing intermittent fasting. I think it's pretty rough. Other people, if they really want to optimize their body mass index and spike their growth hormone, then you're eating within a 4 hour window. That's pretty aggressive. So it depends on what your goals are. But if the goals are cardiovascular health, then I would say if you're eating within an 8 hour window, and you're not having any calories in that 16 hours, but you're drinking water, you can have tea or coffee, but without any sugar. You can have things like stevia, that's okay. You can have vitamin water because it's no calories. But yeah, you want to limit your calories to like 30 calories in that 16 hours.
Perfect. Well, believe it or not, we've hit the end of the time again. So this has been fantastic. David, what I'll say is, at the beginning you talked about the theme this year for LifeWave being heart to heart. And I know one thing that I appreciate, and one thing that I've seen several comments on here is we're just really grateful that you're willing to open your heart and share these things with us. This really life-changing advice and life-saving advice. So we really appreciate that. Before we end here, is there anything else that you want to share with our community?
Oh, that's a loaded question, Jim, because there's always could keep going for a while here. But yeah, one thing that we didn't have a chance to really cover, and that is, of course, every organ in the body is associated with an emotion, and of course, the heart is always associated with love. And when people are in a state of anger, you can see the negative consequences that this has on their body. Elevated levels of stress, elevated levels of inflammation, and this puts people at risk for heart disease. So, I think what I'd say is that we've talked a lot today about these physical things that we can do to prevent and reverse heart disease. But really, where this is going to start is on the spiritual level and on the emotional level. If we relax, we meditate, we de-stress, we pray, we love, all of these things are going to dramatically support the health of our heart and give us a better quality of life. So probably the best thing that we can do in all of this is maintain a healthy spiritual state and a healthy emotional state. Give thanks to the ones that we love that are in our lives. Give thanks for everything that we have. Give thanks to God who created us, and we'll have a happy and prosperous life.
Well, amazing and beautiful advice. Well, as always, David, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. For everyone in our community, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for taking the time. We appreciate you and love you, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, everybody.